Namaste. Welcome to the Shaman and the Mermaid. This is your astrological report for July 20th all the way up through August 3rd. And can you believe that August 2nd is the halfway point to fall? Lamas. We're halfway there through the summer, at least by the end of our report. But we're kicking off on the 20th of July with a new moon in Cancer. And this is the second new moon in Cancer. It's kind of unusual to have two new moons in the same sign. It happens every couple of years. And it is meaningful when that happens.
I think there's the way I look at it is the universe is throwing down an extra, like you didn't get it the last new moon, so we'll give it to you again just to keep that rolling out a little extra time to get that Cancerian new moon energy down pat. So what is a Cancer new moon? Well, Cancer, the sign itself, is a very watery, emotional, sensitive sign. It's mothering, it's home, it's children, it's your inner child. You could use a picture of Mother Mary holding the baby Jesus as an icon of what that looks like on some level, because it's both that mothering energy, but it's also that kind of needy infant energy too. So when we get that infantile behavior, we want to throw a little temper tantrum, we're feeling sorry for ourselves, things are going our way, that can be Cancerian energy too. It's also nurturing and loving and supporting and kind of womb-like energy with that watery nourishment that sustains us and keeps us feeling safe and secure. So then the moon is home in Cancer. So take everything I just said about Cancer, apply that to the moon and double it, plus there's two of these. One that was last new moon was on Summer Solstice, June 20th, and now again Cancer new moon here on July 20th. So we have this extended rollout of what it is really, I think, to nurture ourselves and to soothe that inner child that might be squaring off a little bit with some of that Chiron energy over there in Aries that we'll talk about in a little bit. So that's one piece of it. And another thing that happens on this new moon, the sun comes right up with it. So the moon is the feminine energy and the sun is the solar energy, and when they combine together like that, it's kind of our whole self. It's that Shiva Shakti, the yin yang. So on a new moon, it seeds the beginning. You come together with your whole self, your outward expression, your sun energy, with your inward expression, and try to really just get things in alignment, and you begin that new month of energy or moon cycle of energy that seeds it. So this is a time for setting really positive intentions, and particularly around self-nourishment and taking care of self. But there's a lot of other aspects this time too. So we kind of broaden the intention to be beyond just nourishing ourselves. In nourishing yourself, keep in mind that our actions and our words and what we're thinking internally, the thoughts internally, move into our words, how we speak and talk to one another, which then translates into our actions, and those have a big reverberating effect outward into the ether. So it leads to our theme, and you want to share it?
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of reverse.
Yeah, it comes from the Upanishads. What does Upanishad mean?
To sit at the feet of the teacher.
Oh, okay, so, well, this is a good one to say sit at the feet of the teacher, because this new moon with the sun and the moon in Cancer is opposite of Saturn.
The rules, the laws, the
elder,
karmas,
the teacher. And so the sun and the moon are sitting at the feet of Saturn. And this phrase from the Upanishads is, be mindful of your thoughts, because your thoughts become your words. Be mindful of your words, because they become your actions, and your actions become your karma. That's Saturn's whole thing.
Right.
Your thoughts become your words become your actions become your karma.
Yes. So it kind of goes back to the seed. New moon setting intention is called, intentions in Sanskrit is sankalpa, and loosely translated to mean a vow of the heart. And you kind of hold a seed thought. You plant that seed thought deep into the Hridayam heart, or your spiritual heart, your deepest heart past your physical heart, past your emotional heart, and you connect in on that soul level with this intention. You set that seed, and in that sankalpa or intention becomes somewhat like a mantra, and you mind train with that mantra. You get your thoughts in this groove, this pattern. And right now, with so much negativity and trouble and worry and fear and uncertainty that's in the ether, and we all feel it, and it's globally, it's really important that our thoughts stay in high vibration. So back to the mantra, be mindful of your thoughts, because your thoughts become your words become your actions, and your actions become your karma. Start with that seed intention. Use this new moon to plant that positive thought pattern. And I was teaching in my class today, and I told everyone, just the word love, when you look at it spelled out, there's this subtle, almost subliminal effect that it has on our inner psyche. We see it and we have a reaction to it. And most oftentimes that reaction is really positive. It elicits this charge of happiness and joy and hope and enlightenment. I mean, of course, if we're just coming off of a tumultuous breakup, the word love can kind of be a dagger. But for the most part, that word, symbolically, just the symbol of the 4 letters, elicits like a dopamine charge that gets us all activated. And so if the symbol, reading that word, has that effect, imagine what repeating something like love or hope or kindness or compassion has on our energy body. And it's just a subtle little way to help us kind of protect ourselves and shield ourselves against this ether that is laden with so much negativity right now. So new moon in Cancer, set that seed intention with a positive thought. Then the thought starts to roll out into your words, and you start talking. Well, be careful in that, because right out of the chute with our talking, after the moon moves into, it's still in Cancer, I guess, for one more day. But the next day, July 21st, Mercury, your communicator, your talking, is going to square Chiron. And the moon is also going to square our favorite uncle Uranus, which you never know what's going to happen with that. You want to speak to that squaring duet there?
Mm-hmm. To me, they're kind of the same thing, said different ways. The moon and Chiron share similar energies, they can, and Mercury and Uranus are similar energies. They're different octaves of each other. And so Uranus, it's like America, Uranus, they'll be taking a square to Chiron, Mercury squaring Chiron, which is one's wounds. And right now, for the collective and for you as an individual, Chiron is in Aries, and it's all about the wounded masculine. And whether one's a man or a woman, we're all experiencing the wounds of the masculine energy. This can show up so many different ways. It's either too hot or too cold. Too cold masculine is weak, and not physically weak, just weak in your willpower, weak in your determination, weak in your self-empowerment.
Your
drive, you're lethargic, you don't engage, you go off into fantasy or delusion or addiction. Those are weak signs of not a strong masculine. You're also not apt to be someone who can stand up and, lead by example, be a leader. Speak your truth. And other good words for the strong masculine is to initiate, to trust your intuition and your spark, to have passion for life, to be alive, vitality. These are all positive things. And then the other side of out of balance masculine is way too much, but usually it's because of the same reason, because we don't feel our power strong enough, and so we try and overcompensate, and we project on others. We become aggressive, we become defensive, we become pushy and controlling.
Yeah, that's the hot side of it.
That's the hot side. The middle point is when the masculine is healed and feeling the right way, it's like we have nice, strong vitality. We have life force. We feel confident in ourselves. We don't have to over-project on others. You feel confident in your own thoughts, words, and actions that you don't have to force or control another to follow you. You lead by example. I do this, and this is my example, and if you choose, you follow. But when Mercury is squaring that, then all those unbalanced sides of the Chiron wounded masculine may come up. This can be a chance, though, to see it and do something about it. Moon square Uranus is your inner child, your little self that needs nurturing. Something is being agitated, unusual. It usually has to do, well, not usually, but I'm going to interpret it that Uranus is your individual, unique self. But that can come out as you're weird, you're different, you don't fit in. You're the black sheep, you think differently, you don't fit into society, you feel alone.
Quirky.
So that's Tuesday, July 21st. The next day, the sun jumps into the sign of Cancer. It's more of a slide.
To Leo. Right.
And we start off the lion.
Happy birthday to all the Leos starting July 22nd. And this is the lion-hearted. And there's a lot of great, this is why we had this mantra in part for this time, because your thoughts become your words, and so speak in right way, but then your words become your action. And Leo, the lion-hearted, is that one who can get on stage and do the great oration, or do the great theatrical performance, or sing the song, or motivate the people in the masses. They're great leaders, can be. And so this is a time where, if we have these positive thoughts that we're setting the seed with about love and compassion and servitude and gratitude and moving forward together, helping each other into our highest way, if we use that into motivational speaking, those seeds of thought that we have, and not necessarily motivational speaking. Not everyone likes to get up in front of an audience and talk or write a book, but use your thoughts to push forward into action. It's one thing to sit around and dream about the new world coming together, but you have to take that action step, and that's what Leo energy is really good for. And we're going to have a whole month of Leo energy starting on that 22nd. So it's a good time to initiate our lion heart, that big powerful roar in our heart.
I like it. The next, a few days after that, on the 26th, July 26th, Sunday, the moon is squaring Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, all the big dogs that are influencing this year, next year, and last year. And it's a really personal thing against the not against, but it's, I guess, against the collective. It's against what is truth. What are we doing with the government? What are we doing with laws, money, taxes? And what's the karma playing out for all of us? And when the moon's squaring all that, it's like you really feel it personally this time around. And it's like your little personal self feels lots of security issues around there. I don't have any money, I'm not safe, I'm isolated, I'm going to get sick, my family, like a lot of those things might come up. And that is the last day that Mercury leaves its shadow. So Mercury retrograde ended on the 12th, but on the 26th, Mercury is now charging forward into new ground.
Which is going to feel like a breath of fresh air on some sense. And I think that 26, when the moon is squaring those big dogs of Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, we might feel like it's me against the world. It might feel like nobody likes me and I'm not good enough, if we let ourselves kind of spiral into a downward thought pattern. So again, it's so important that your thoughts, that's where everything begins. Your thoughts stay in that high vibration, because on that same day, instead of letting it spiral down into me against the world and nobody likes me, especially since we just came off that moon square Uranus and Mercury square Chiron a few days earlier, we might be feeling a little beat up, and then we face these other big dogs with our moon energy, which is how we talk to ourselves. Remember, the moon is our internal feelings, how we speak to ourselves privately inside of our head. Keep it in the upward spiral. Keep telling yourself, remember that Cancer moon, that Cancer new moon is about nurturing that inner child, the mothering energy, taking self-care, a lot of self-respect, taking time out just to appreciate all that you are and seeing that you're this amazing creative being of light, and pausing to just examine that. So maybe on that day of the 26th, instead of letting yourself feeling like it's you against the world, see yourself as anchored in this world, and you are your own unique, authentic individual that has much to offer. Let that be the self-talk. If I could offer any guidance for that day, because there is potential for us to get a little bit meh on that time. Meh. Then we move along to the next day, which is July 27th. Half moon in Scorpio too.
Half moon in Scorpio, and you can see it at the half right at sunset. The moon will be overhead. For those of you who like to catch that particular energy. Half moon in Scorpio, Venus will also be squaring Neptune, and Mercury will square Mars. This report has a lot of personal things going on. Mm-hmm. Not that we haven't been feeling it personal, but anything with the moon, the sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars.
That's all personal planets.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them are squaring with these transpersonal planets, which is more like the world, the government, the systems, the collective. And so the whole thing, this whole next 2 weeks, has a lot of me against society, the self against the greater whatever. And it's important instead, I'm going to keep reiterating that new moon in Cancer having come twice now, it's important that we nurture ourselves instead of beat ourselves up. It will be a desire, a self-protection mode is to go into victim, martyr, or pity party, or even spiral into a depression because of all this extra fear from the collective, and our maybe feeling like it's unsurmountable. Like there's nothing that I can do as the individual that can help this whole crazy problem. And that's not what the focus is. Shift the perspective. Of course, you, the individual, me, Michael, we can't individually save the world. That would be a monumental task and a little ridiculous to consider. But we can get ourselves. We can nurture ourselves and make ourselves as whole and as strong as we can. And then when I get me, then I can better get Michael, and I can better get the kids, and I can better help the people in my community. So it starts just baby steps, and not let it get so, out of control in how we're looking at it. Take that 30,000 foot view perspective, look down on yourself and anchor and ground yourself into this earth, and see yourself rooted and belonging and connected, almost like you're a tree. I like to look down from that 30,000 foot perspective and see myself as a strong, powerful tree rooted in this earth, and I belong here, and I'm providing in my own individual way some shade, kind of like the giving tree, if you remember the Shel Silverstein book. So on that 27th, Venus squaring Neptune is potentially an emotional roller coaster, because Venus is that heart energy, and she's in the sign of Gemini, which is I'm curious, I want information, I want to know things, and I want to know things from my value system. I'm trying to align my values, and I need the right information. I'm truth seeking right now. And then squaring off Neptune, Neptune's like, I like things to be a little ambiguous. I don't want to reveal all the answers to you. I want you to have to trust. So it might be this squaring of demanding and wanting to know for the self, and the universe coming back saying, no, you need to learn how to trust. And instead, we often use these squares, instead of letting it be combative, let those dovetail. Let trusting the universe and defining your own values come together, and see if there can be a nice, stronghold that can be made out of that instead of that challenging square. On the same day, though, another square, and that's Mercury, who's in Cancer, that emotional communication and emotions together, is squaring Mars in his home sign of Aries. You want to speak to that one? I think that's big.
Woof.
Yeah, woof.
I think Katrina covered a lot of this already. It's, you want to know something, you have your values, you don't feel loved or appreciated for it, you're frustrated, you want to know. Mercury wants to get the information as well. That's shared sign to Gemini. The planet shares the same energy, and Mars is that masculine again coming in. The masculine's getting a lot of play here to show that there's woundedness around it or challenges to it. And the strong masculine, I think, is what Katrina said. Work on you. That's the perfect use of the masculine energy, is you get you. It's not selfish. It's not turning away. It's like the tree that puts its roots deep can then share its shade for the birdies and the squirrels and give off fruits and stuff. But if it doesn't put its roots down, it's not going to do any good for anybody else. It'll topple over and cause more damage. That's the wounded masculine. You get you. It's not selfish. Know that you're doing it for the greater good, but you take care of your problems. You understand your own projections. You know when you're defensive. You fire up and get your Manipura chakra in alignment and do the stuff you got to do. And just remember as well, this too will pass. Any intense day in this astrology report, it's not going to last. And give yourself that wider perspective of time. Because on the 30th of July, Mercury will trine Neptune. Oh, thank goodness, a nice harmonious aspect.
Yeah, that's really nice.
And so that's that Mercury information seeker, the communicator, coming into support with that collective mystical information coming out / love.
So all that trust that you were using your Mars willpower to step into the boon comes or could come on that day, July 30th, where a lot of maybe spiritual awareness, spiritual embodiment can happen that day, where we just really drop into our meditations. We feel that Kundalini flow, the Shakti moving. We feel in alignment with Source. I mean, I would use that day, Thursday the 30th, to really set your meditation practice in motion. It would be a good day, because meditation is a form of communication. That's Mercury trining with Neptune. That's spiritualism. So it's just like having the antennas already and lined up to go. And remember, I'm going to go back to the mantra that we have: be mindful of your thoughts, because your thoughts become your words, and your words become your actions, and your actions become your karma. So all of that, mercurial energy, that's one of those personal planets that's really strong. In fact, we can kind of cruise through the next few days, because Mercury, after it trines Neptune on the 30th, on that same day, it's opposite of Jupiter, and then a couple days later on August 1st, it's opposite of Pluto. So there's potential for us to be kind of spouting off or addressing some of that higher power in that governmental structure, in the collective ideals, in the way the government is handing down law and order to us. We might feel empowered to oppose it on those days. So be mindful of your words, because your words become your actions and then your karma. So just keep that in mind. Use the trine to first, before those Pluto-Jupiter oppositions with Mercury. First is that trine with Neptune. Kind of go in and set the seed of that deeper spiritual connection before you go spouting off too much. And then there's the sun is going to trine Chiron on the 31st. You want to speak to that one? That's another good one, I think.
Mm-hmm. If you're getting your spiritual work in order, taking care of you, working on you, getting your willpower in order, this is a day or an energy that is like the boon of that. The wound suddenly becomes the healer. And the healer of Chiron comes and helps out the sun, your personality. You get a boost. It's like I feel good, I feel confident, I feel clear, I feel empowered, I understand myself more, I've grounded deeper, I've matured a little bit, and now I can offer some shade, some help, some perspective back to others, hand a helping hand out. And you go from being the wounded victim to being the helper healer, who has the real medicine.
Particularly that Leo, the lion-hearted, like big, powerful. You're the, the pride of the jungle. You're that main energy on that day for all beings. Just walk with that, strong pride and be the healer. Really bring all that nourishment back out from your heart to the heart of everyone else. Okay, and then cruising along. One more thing I mentioned August 1st with Mercury in opposition to Pluto, but also on that day is the moon squaring Mars. This is that inner feelings and our I am. And it's a potential day for a little mouthing off. So just keep that in mind, that your words become your actions, which become your karma. So August 1, I think, has potential for maybe just getting a little aggro, getting your warrior out. Maybe channel that into another one of those dovetails where you use your willpower and you use your assertiveness to speak a truth or to speak what's in your heart, the lion heart, as opposed to like getting combative and conflictual. So keep August 1st as a just mind my words a little bit. And then we go into August 2nd.
Yay! It's an August holiday. It's Lammas or Lughnasadh, or easier for you, it's the half point to fall. It's one of the mystical mid-seasons that we don't see, but they're the height of whatever season it's in. So it's the most summer of summer, August, the beginning of August, the dog days of August. It's also the heliacal rising of Sirius. That's a whole other discussion. Maybe we'll put it in the other one, but it's when the star Sirius rises just before the sun in the morning time. In Egypt, it was the representation of the return of some energies and also the flooding of the Nile and some gathering of crops. You can look it up. I believe, and others do as well, that Sirius is a binary star with our sun, and they're in a 26,000-year dance of orbiting each other. That's a whole other rabbit hole to go down.
And this is like when they come together in these dog days of summer. It's dog days of summer because Sirius is in the constellation of the
Orion.
Yes, but it's something to do with the dog. Missing that.
Canis Major.
Yeah, thank you. And so the dog days of summer, it sounds like it's because it's hot as heck. Well, yeah, we have two giant blazing suns close to us, Sirius and our own sun, plus these the closeness of them together. They're kind of feeding off each other. And also on that same day as Lammas and Sirius rising is a square of the sun to Uranus, which I think is a no-joke potential situation for some big explosion. Whether it's natural forces just getting a little out of control with the universe, bringing up whatever in the way of like volcanoes, earthquakes, etc., but more the human race. I can see that intensity of Uranus, the random wild card of I need to teach you those karmas because you're not getting them, throwing that lightning bolt, and the sun are lion-hearted, roar, and they are in a square to each other. So a really potent thing to do would be to channel that potential energy back to a dovetail instead of a combat, and use that channel that lightning bolt kind of electricity, innovation, revelation, revolution. Those are all Uranian energies, and put them into connection with how you express yourself, using the words and the actions for good karmas, not for bad karmas. But a little potential there. August 1st, August 2nd, rolling into those dog days of summer, have some fire in them. Be aware. Remember, Leo is a fire sign. These are hot times. It could be a little bit big. Then we'll go into the full moon in Aquarius on August 3rd, and that's where we'll pick you up again. Full moon in Aquarius. Aquarius is the same energy as Uranus. That's that revolutionary, evolution, and the full moon coming to fruition there at that time. Kind of excited to see, especially coming off some of that heat wave that we'll be ending this report on.
Maybe on August 2nd or 3rd, maybe break some bread with somebody who is unusual that you wouldn't normally invite to dinner. Why do I say
like that?
Lammas is the first harvest of the wheat, and it's when you celebrate the first abundance of the season. And you are meant to do it in community, or that's a good way to share it. So Uranus is unusual, different. It could be someone who does not share your opinion or perspective.
So
But invite them in and share bread because you're both humans.
Yeah. I like that. That's a great idea. Okay, so maybe plan a little random dinner party for August 2nd, 3rd, and celebrate the wheat harvest and getting to know somebody of another ilk. All right, we'll conclude by repeating our mantra. Be mindful of your word or your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words become your actions, and your actions become your karma.
I hope.
Namaste.
Namaste, yogis.